All right, all you A-Push people. So in this third and last video about the Spanish caste system in the Americas, so far in video 1, we were talking about only 2 different types of lineage when Spaniards married Indians. And then in video 2, we talked about only 2 types of lineage when Spaniards married Africans. But that original screen that we showed you at the opening of the video said that there are 3 kinds of people mixing together for the first time. It's Spaniards and Indians and Africans. So in this one, we're gonna uncover another layer of racism, and we're going to show you how complex it becomes when you get different combinations between the 3. So let's pick up with the next panel to be covered and blow it up nice and big for you here. We've got chino in this painting, which you might remember means 7/8 Spaniard and 1/8 African. And then this particular person chooses to marry an Indian. So that's a third factor, and we haven't seen that before. If you do the math here, that means the baby is going to be 7/16 Spanish, 1/16 African, and 1/2 Indian. That's quite a combination. Jump back! I mean, like, literally, the name created for somebody who was 7/16 Spaniard, 1/16 African, and 1/2 Indian was salta atrás, which essentially in Spanish actually means jump back, leap backward. And that's, again, some of the racism getting its way in there. Sorta, kinda, to become a chino, well, it meant people were actively trying to make their family line Spaniard again by only marrying Spaniards. And so if one of those kids grew up to marry an Indian, that was, you know, they had considered making progress, and now it was a big leap backward in that progress. Kind of ugly, right? But the idea here is really not to draw attention to that part of it, because it was there and it's unfortunate, and thank goodness we don't think that way anymore. But look at how crazy the fractions start to get there once you start mixing all 3 kinds of people. And to be a little bit more unfortunate in getting to the complexity part, if you know a little Spanish because you've learned some here at Leiden, or if you speak Spanish already, have you noticed kind of a trend that we've been seeing in the names that they've been choosing? Like, for example, let's say we went over to the next panel in the system. It would be the one that identifies a lobo. Well, a lobo is a wolf. That's an animal. And if you were kind of paying attention to mulata and mulatto, mula is a mule. And we had talked about chino before. We said it's not the word meaning China. It's because it's a shortening up of cochino, which is swine, pigs, a pig. And so they're applying animal names to the mixed folks. It wasn't intended to be harsh like that, but when we think about it with our modern ears today, it is pretty harsh. And that's not the only way they came up with pretty harsh names. If you go down to a panel somewhere down around here, somebody whose blood is so mixed, and it's mostly Indian and African with not much Spaniard left in it, well, the actual title in these casta paintings is No te entiendo. I don't understand you. That's the label that was given. Now, it wasn't really a formal label, like legal-wise, but it was thrown around there, and it was basically an insult to people who were nowhere near Spanish enough. So if we were to try to go all the way down to a no te entiendo, I'm not gonna because it's super complicated. But to get to that panel, you would have to find out what somebody called an albarazada was. Because an albarazada would be a great-grandmother of a no te entiendo. So if you run through this and you do all the family tree math, an albarazada is a person who is 75 128 Spanish, 45 128 African, and 1/16, that would be 8 128 Indian. And that's the great-grandmother, who's then going to be mixing with people just as mixed as she is to get down to our no te entiendo. This structure of the Spanish society, called castas, the Spanish caste system in the Americas, is something the College Board says you need to know. Fraser didn't tell you about it, but I just did.